Right now, a new grant helping a local EMS service afford some much-needed upgrades.
Plus, the January 6th committee wants to hear from Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, who was issued a subpoena over the weekend.
And later, expanding access to reproductive health services, how the local health department is making it happen. That's all right now at 10. But first, the Dane County Medical Examiner's Office has released the name of the man whose body was found in Lake Monona just last week. But details in the case remain sparse. 49-year-old Brian Knoll of Milwaukee was found in the water near the intersection of John Olen Drive and North Shore Drive last Tuesday night. The Medical Examiner's Office said an autopsy was completed but did not provide a cause of death. When you're in an emergency and call an ambulance, you are calling a truck staffed with professionals and thousands of dollars in equipment.
The Wisconsin Department of Health Services just awarded millions to EMS providers all across the state to help offset some of those costs. Armand Rahman joins us now with how one local agency will be putting those funds to use. Armand?
The Department of Health awarded $141,000 of the $12 million flex grant to Sun Prairie EMS. And to show you how expensive an ambulance service is, most of that money will go towards replacing just one piece of life-saving equipment on each truck. On an ambulance, the cardiac monitor has a big job.
Allows us to run EKGs, blood pressure, pulse, respiratory rate, end-tidal CO2, oxygen saturation, cardiac rhythm, and things like that.
And the little machine has a big price tag, too.
We need right now to replace 4 monitors. And that we've gotten a quote from the company of $135,000 just for the monitors.
But that's money that won't have to come out of Sun Prairie EMS's pockets thanks to a $141,000 flex grant from Wisconsin DHS.
It's a big relief because we didn't know what we were going to do if one of our monitors went down. That means the truck's out of service. And with the demands that are placed in a growing area like Sun Prairie and with our Marshall expansion, we cannot afford any downtime.
Each ambulance, including the new one set to serve Marshall next year, gets a new monitor. Paramedic Chris Kaiser says the rest of the grant money will go toward training equipment.
And high-fidelity training mannequins cost a lot of money, as do the supplies that we use to train, because we train with the same supplies that we use in patient care on the high-fidelity mannequins.
It also allows them to focus on the other bigger costs of EMS work.
We're also buying 3 additional ambulances, which are about $200,000 a pop. I mean, we have to replace the equipment. There's costs. There's all kinds of expenses to run an ambulance service. And ambulance services aren't profit centers, they're cost centers.
Kaiser says they rely on support like this to provide a service lives in the community rely on.
Funding sources like this are a step in the right direction, and I'm glad to see them doing it. I hope it continues, and we continue to support good quality ambulance services in Wisconsin.
Now, Sun Prairie will start getting the first half of the grant payment later this week. The rest will be released after budget reports are submitted, and all funds have to be spent by next September.
This year, we are seeing the highest number of schools go to referendum than we've seen in the last decade. Referendums are traditionally for long-delayed maintenance or new projects, but what we're seeing this year is more referendums for basic operational expenses, rising to 92 districts just this year alone. We spoke with a Verona school leader today whose district is going to referendum this fall.
What happened was, in some ways, a perfect storm out of this last 2-year budget cycle. So the state passed a budget kind of on the front end of a global pandemic. We had one-time federal funding coming into our state, and state lawmakers decided to have school districts make tough budget decisions with one-time funding, and certainly didn't see record-high inflation coming.
And just today, the Middleton Cross Plains Area School District cutting the ribbon on some newly remodeled spaces thanks to a citywide referendum. Part of the building houses the Cardinal Academy, a transitional program for students ages 18 to 21. The other is an early learning center for early childhood and 4K.
Turning things to weather now, looking out over downtown Madison. Fall off to a pretty chilly start so far. And Julian C. right now with our certified most accurate forecast. Julian?
Well, we do do have a few frosty nights on tap for us. As we start off for tonight, we have a frost advisory for Juno and Monroe counties. The good news is that us here in southern Wisconsin, we're not worrying about that just yet. But folks, for those who are in within Juno and even Monroe counties, we're looking for the frost advisory to go into effect at 2 a.m. until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. But tomorrow night, we're going to see these temperatures drop even more than they will for tonight. We're looking at right now 50 degrees. We will be into the 40s by the time we get into the late overnight hours. But planning your nights, well, folks, we're going to be seeing temperatures drop into the very low 40s for many of us here in southern Wisconsin, especially for Janesville, Madison, and for Platteville, where we're flirting with 39 degrees. Now, as we take a look at tomorrow, temperatures will be still not so bad, but we're going to be looking at partly sunny skies, and temperatures will be around the 56-degree mark for us. We'll take a look at what else we can expect and when we can see that frost potential in just a few moments. Until then, back to you guys.
Julian, thank you. The committee investigating the January 6th insurrection wants to talk with Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Vos. It issued a subpoena for the speaker to sit down for an interview this morning, but Vos was able to postpone that deposition. The committee wants to know more about a call that took place between Vos and Donald Trump earlier this year. Now, in that call, the former president urged Vos to do more to decertify the 2020 presidential election results in Wisconsin, something the speaker has repeatedly said is not possible. Now, Vos says he got the subpoena on Saturday, was expected to appear before the committee this morning, but after he filed a lawsuit this weekend, Vos was able to get his deposition delayed. And looking ahead, the committee will hold its next public hearing on Wednesday. It's expected to be the final public hearing. We still don't know what specific topic it'll focus on, but the committee is up against the clock, wants to get its investigation wrapped up before the midterm election.
On the campaign trail today, Mandela Barnes met with voters at a diner in Monona. He criticized Ron Johnson's record on Social Security and Medicare. In August, Johnson proposed moving the two programs out of automatic entitlement spending and into the discretionary budget. Since then, Johnson says he does not want to eliminate the programs. He says his proposal reflects out-of-control government spending. In Washington today, President Joe Biden rolled out the red carpet at the White House for the Atlanta Braves. The celebration was to honor the team's 2021 World Series victory over the Houston Astros. Biden called the Braves the upset kings of October. The team, in turn, gave the president a jersey with his name and the number 46.
Brett Favre could be in legal hot water, according to new court filings. The Hall of Fame quarterback repeatedly pressed then Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant for money to build a volleyball facility at the University of Southern Mississippi. Favre's daughter was on the volleyball team at the time that request was made. The filings say the demands came even after Favre was told the misuse of state funds could be illegal. Favre is currently not charged in the fraud scheme, but he has been named as a defendant in a civil suit related to the matter. Edward Snowden has lived in Russia now since 2013, but he can now officially call it his home. The former NSA contractor has been granted citizenship in Russia. An official decree was published on the Kremlin's government portal today. Snowden previously admitted to leaking information about U.S. surveillance programs to the media.
A gunman killed at least 15 people at a school in Russia today. 11 of them were children. Investigators believe the suspect may have been inspired by a school shooting in the U.S. Russian authorities say the suspect, a former student, took his own life. Investigators released video of the aftermath, including evidence they say references the Columbine massacre. Images from the scene show pistols with keychains attached with the names Eric and Dylan and the word Columbine. In Wisconsin, the State Department of Justice says its Speak Up, Speak Out school safety reporting system saw a 15% increase in tips reported during last year. The program, which was rolled out in 2020, has generated more than 4,000 tips since it began. The goal is to have students, staff, and community members share their concerns before violence happens at a school.
In Chicago, a week after being pushed off Navy Pier into Lake Michigan, a 3-year-old child has now died. The child was with his aunt, 34-year-old Victoria Moreno, on September 19th when she allegedly pushed him. Police say she did not jump in after him. Moreno was arrested less than an hour after it happened, was charged with first-degree attempted murder and aggravated battery of a child. Those charges are likely now to be upgraded. And the Wisconsin Department of Health Services confirming the first case of West Nile virus in a human. This is in Sheboygan County. The virus spread through mosquitoes. DHS says while mosquito activity is dropping due to cooler temperatures, there's still a risk of catching the virus until the first hard frost of the season.
In light of the Roe v. Wade reversal, Public Health Madison and Dane County is reporting an increase in demand for reproductive health services. McKenna Alexander explains how the department is working to meet that spike in interest.
Women seeking pregnancy options will soon have more resources here in southern Wisconsin, all thanks to proposed expansion of PHMDC services. Since the reversal of Roe v. Wade, demand for reproductive and sexual health services has only gone up. It's something felt across the nation, including here in Dane County.
I think just in the swirl of what's happened after Roe versus Wade was overturned, we've been seeing an increase definitely in people, community members asking questions, looking for resources.
That spike in demand has Public Health Madison and Dane County both reactive and proactive, reacting to more women seeking help and preparing for that trend to continue.
So we know that it's going to touch many areas of our community. There's going to be far-reaching impacts, but specifically, we know that it will impact reproductive health.
Right now, PHMDC's reproductive and sexual health services are limited only to its East Washington clinic. An amendment to the City of Madison's 2022 operating budget would change that.
And this is something that we would want to do regardless of what's happened with abortion access. We have been planning on and hoping to be able to offer things like IUDs out of our clinic, and this kind of gave us the boost to kind of expedite that process.
The possibility of an additional clinic on South Park Street, extended East Washington hours, more clinicians, and long-term contraception options such as IUDs and implants all make up PHMDC's goal of supporting even more women in our area.
We're also not the only place that people can go and get reproductive health care, which is great. And so we are hoping that this can just provide another option for people in our community.
If you're in need of reproductive service help right now, the East Wash Clinic is open and available to provide free pregnancy test, oral birth control, and pregnancy support.
On the COVID-19 road to recovery, there may soon be a new tool to fight the virus for kids. Today, Pfizer announced they finished their submission to the FDA for an emergency use authorization. The request is for an updated booster shot for 5 to 11-year-olds. This shot focuses on strains that were part of the original vaccine and new variants. Starting October 1st, Canada is also getting rid of pandemic-related border restrictions that have been in place for 2.5 years now. That includes testing, quarantine, and isolation requirements for people entering Canada. Still ahead tonight, major retailers already announcing holiday specials, including what is being considered a second Amazon Prime Day.
Plus, preparing for Hurricane Ian as it gains strength, takes aim at Florida. The latest up next.
It's Terrific Tuesdays at Hy-Vee. This Tuesday, Hy-Vee orange juice, only 49 cents. And Mia Italian single-topping pizzas, only $5. Tuesday only. And visit HyVeeDeals.com for even more deals.
Wisconsin is a home of workers. We know it needs to get done, and we do it. Yet, we've been hit hard, some harder than others. Our contact may be limited, but we still can lift each other up. The Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy providers are working together to help keep your heat and power on. You may not ask for it, but we want you to know we're here.
It's time for new energy-efficient replacement windows from Champion.
Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free. Don't sweat over high energy bills. Stay comfortable in your home all year long. Call or go online to book your free estimate at getchampionwindows.com.
Dear road rivals, every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan that covers tire rotations, engine oil changes, fluid adjustments, and more for 2 years or 25,000 miles. Nissan charges extra for maintenance. And you guessed it, Ford charges extra for maintenance. At Toyota, we take care of our drivers. Too bad none of our rivals do the same. Join us, Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Mass shootings, school shootings, and violent crime are on the rise, and Ron Johnson is making things worse. He abandoned law enforcement, voting against funding for the police, preventing local departments from hiring more officers, but supported flooding our streets with guns and making it easier for violent criminals and domestic abusers to get them. Ron Johnson is failing to keep us safe. Every Town for Gun Safety Victory Fund is responsible for the content of this ad.
Keep bragging about your buck after the hunt with wild game processing from Johnson's Sausage Shop in Ryle, Wisconsin. Friends enjoy a hunting story more over a jalapeno cheddar stick. Johnson's Sausage Shop accepts wild game 7 days a week. First bucks in are the first brats out.
It's Terrific Tuesdays at Hy-Vee. This Tuesday, fresh, boneless, skinless chicken breasts, only $1.99 a pound. And ramen, only 99 cents. Tuesday only. And visit HyVeeDeals.com for even more deals.
We're doing big things on the Jennifer Hudson Show. The incredible Meghan Trainor is here.
Me and me, then a you.
Hey! Plus, the USC Majorettes perform.
On the next Jennifer Hudson Show at 3. You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back. New video tonight. A loaded truck ended up in the sea after losing its brakes while driving through a slope in Martha's Vineyard earlier this month. A webcam in Vineyard Haven, a community on the Massachusetts island, recorded how the dump truck driver went through an intersection and ended up in the water next to a dock. Luckily, the driver was able to get out and was not injured. Next at 10, Amazon is getting a big jump on the holiday shopping season.
That's right. The company rolling out what it's calling its Prime Early Access Sale, which will be similar to its annual Prime Day sale. Amazon says it'll offer deals on hundreds of thousands of items to Prime members. The sale set for October 11th and 12th. And Target also looking to hire up to 100,000 people to help out during the holiday shopping season. In addition, the company will also have a Deal Days event. That'll be October 6th through 8th. It'll feature thousands of deals. Target also says it plans to extend its popular holiday price match guarantee this year.
Developing tonight, the state of Florida and much of the Gulf Coast preparing for what will likely become a major hurricane. Sandbagging locations are set up all across the region as Hurricane Ian gains strength. And this video behind me is from the International Space Station as it orbited over the storm. The storm is on track to hit the west coast of Florida as a major hurricane as early as Wednesday. Tampa and St. Petersburg appear to be potential targets. It's forecast to strike Cuba tonight before strengthening in the Gulf of Mexico. Christian Benavides has the latest.
Hurricane Ian blew through Grand Cayman Monday, but didn't leave behind much damage.
To be honest, this is mild. This could have been a lot worse.
It will likely be a lot worse once it reaches the U.S., and that's why there are lines of traffic leaving Tampa. Mandatory evacuations have already been ordered in some low-lying areas.
Please be prepared because this is a very big storm. It's about 500 miles wide. Which is certainly on the bigger side as hurricanes go.
The National Hurricane Center predicts Ian could bring life-threatening storm surge of up to 10 feet in and around the Tampa Bay area. That's due to the storm's track and the high tide when it is set to arrive.
Flooding is a major concern.
People are remembering the last storm that hit Tampa Bay, which was 100 years ago. This could very well be that next 100-year storm.
Residents filled sandbags as they watch and wait for Ian.
Nobody wants 100-mile-an-hour winds for 8-10 hours. So yeah, a little bit worried, but prepared, yes.
At stores, supplies of bottled water quickly sold out.
I came in for certain things that I really needed, but other things I'm stocking up for my animals and for me.
Already, some gas stations in Lee County have run out of fuel, and the storm hasn't arrived yet. Christian Benavides, CBS News, St. Petersburg, Florida.
Governor DeSantis has already declared a state of emergency ahead of the storm.
NASA also not taking any chances with Hurricane Ian today. The agency announced it's moving its massive moon rocket for the Artemis 1 mission back into the garage at Kennedy Space Center down in Florida. That move delays the next launch attempt for the mission now at least a few more weeks. Now, locally, 4 Red Cross volunteers from Wisconsin are already on their way to Florida. This is in preparation of the storm. The organization says these are among hundreds of disaster workers from across across the country who are heading that way. So for more on our weather and also Ian's track, here's Julian Seawright.
That's right. So we're going to dive right into Hurricane Ian. As you can see, pretty much all of southern Florida is under some form of a tropical storm warning or watch, and a hurricane warning as well for Tampa Bay and areas just north of Fort Myers. Now, in terms of the tracking itself, as we had mentioned and talked about all day long, it has strengthened into a Category 2 hurricane. Winds have sustained around 100 to 120 miles per hour, and over the next 24 hours, throughout the course of going into our early Wednesday morning, we could see it intensify to about a Category 4 storm just before it reaches just the western side of Florida, which will be for Tampa Bay or even for Fort Myers. But this is the current one forecasted track that we have as of right now. There are still a few other tracks that this could take, as well as the hurricane could stretch its way just a bit more south like other hurricanes have in the past back in 2004 for Charlie. But outside of that, if this continues its current track, we could see it make landfall being around a Category 2 or even a 3 hurricane, which would start to really make intensive damage for the areas of Tampa Bay and going into central and northern parts of Florida. And then it starts to finally lose its strength and die itself out by the time we get into our Friday afternoon and late Saturday as it continues to track its way into Georgia and just outside of the Carolinas. But outside of that, so let's talk about some more local weather for us. Well, we have a frost advisory, the first of the season for Juno and Monroe counties. It's going to go into effect at 2 a.m. until 9 a.m. for our Tuesday morning. And folks, we're going to be looking at this cooler conditions to really stick around for us, but it's going to be even chillier by the time we get into our Tuesday night, as we are going to be seeing temperatures drop. Right now, we're looking at low 40s for many of us for southern Wisconsin, but as you can see, just into the northwest, Black River Falls and Camp Douglas, into the middle 30s, upper 30s. That's where we're going to start to see where those areas that have the frost advisory. And that's going to be what we're going to expect by the time we get into our Tuesday night. So buckle up for some chilly conditions for the next couple of days. Tomorrow, we're going to be seeing temperatures be within the mid-50s. It's not going to be rather warm at all. It's going to be on the cooler side by the time we get into our Tuesday afternoon. But let's walk through what we're going to expect going into our Tuesday morning. A lot of open sky, but it will be chilly. Low 40s, upper 30s near the Dells, and then by the time we get into our mid-morning, temperatures will start to improve just a bit, but it's still going to linger into those lower 40s and areas just to the west between Prairie du Chien, Boscobel, and Lone Rock could see into those upper 50s. Now, we could see a couple of spot-up showers starting to roll their way through, which would keep temperatures rather on the lower end of those 50s, especially with the cloud cover, which is going to encompass much of southern Wisconsin into the central side and eastern side as well. Now, as we take a look at what we're going to be seeing over the next few days, again, things are going to be rather dry outside of a couple of showers, which are possible for tomorrow. But then we're going to be seeing, once again, temperatures start to warm up a little bit by the time we get into our mid part of the week, heading into the weekend. The good news is, though, we've had 8 weekends straight of rain. This weekend finally looks like it could be dry, but of course, we could also see that change in 5 days, Charlotte.
So where do the Badgers go from here after a blowout loss over the weekend to Ohio State? That's next in sports.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
With Pick and Save Fresh Perks, it's easy to get lower than low prices for the win. You also earn fuel points on every purchase to save big at the pump. Pick and Save Fresh Perks. All you do is win big, big savings. Pick and Save. Fresh for everyone.
To everyone who loves great food, let us make you a meal the Wisconsin way.
We cook each butter burger to order for you and the people you love, so it's the best part of your day.
The best.
The best.
And every creamy scoop of fresh frozen custard, pure happiness.
Pure happiness.
Pure happiness. Because where Culver's comes from.
And the heart of America's Dairyland.
Our love.
Our love for fresh food is as strong as our love for all of you.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
Monona Plumbing and Fire Protection, a name you can trust when service is a must.
Monona Plumbing and Fire Protection is here 24 hours a day.
7 days a week for all your residential and commercial plumbing services.
From installation, repairs, and maintenance to complete sewer and drain cleaning, we've got you covered.
Visit MononaPFP.com.
Monona Plumbing and Fire Protection, a name
So glad you're here. Looking for one of our most capable Ford SUVs? Okay, great. We've got you covered. Spacious interiors, innovative tech, good looks, and a legendary off-road experience. Check out our inventory today, or let us help you place a custom order. Getting into the perfect Ford SUV? Well, it's easier than ever. Yeah, we've got you covered. Now choose FlexBuy on a 2022 Ford Escape, Edge, or Explorer and get 0% financing for 66 months.
Joe Biden on Medicare for All.
It's going to raise taxes on middle-class people.
Medicare for All would double your income taxes, ban employer-provided and union health plans, and bankrupt Medicare for seniors. Mandela Barnes still supports Bernie Sanders' socialist takeover of your health care.
Medicare for All is the easiest way to get us to universal health care.
Mandela Barnes, more liberal than Joe Biden, way too liberal for Wisconsin.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
Helpful hints for you from Meineke. Your vehicle's brake pads are designed to wear down over time. That's why we recommend a visual brake inspection at least once a year or before you hit the road for a trip. If you feel or hear anything abnormal, stop into Meineke for a free brake inspection and a courtesy check today. And with 4 locations in the Madison area, there's always a Meineke nearby. Set up your appointment at Meineke.com today.
With the Pick and Save app, no matter where you order free pickup, you get the same great deals as you'd get in our stores. So start your cart today. Whenever, wherever. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
There is no way around it. Wisconsin's loss at Ohio State was ugly. The season, however, it's not over, but the Badgers know they have to respond in a big way. And as sports director Zach Hanley found out, just like last year, Illinois is the perfect opponent to turn around a season.
Saturday night in Columbus was one to forget.
I'm just ready for this week, to just move on.
But in order to move on, they have to respond this week, starting in practice.
I want to see our best ball, hands down, every position. And I'm going to push that all week. Like, how can we do something different during the week to just get better? I want to see a complete Wisconsin Badgers football game, and that's what that's the standard I'm setting.
4 games into their season, and Wisconsin is off to a slow start. But they've been here before and turned it around. Last season, they were actually in a worse situation, and then they played Illinois. The Badgers shut out the Illini, which started a 7-game win streak, and this group plans to repeat that history on Saturday.
I think it can put confidence in guys knowing that, regardless of your record, you hold the keys to your success is kind of how I view it. So, guys understand that it's still a lot of games left in the season and, a lot of stuff at stake.
Everybody writing us off already, and it's only the 4th game. There's a lot of football to be played, but, in a couple weeks, keep that same energy. You know what I'm saying? Keep that same energy when we're winning games.
We were 2-2. We got 8 more regular season games. It's not the end of the world. I mean, we can still finish out a 10-2 football team, and that's what I'm hitting the guys on. It's like we still control our destiny.
And it starts with getting back to work to play their brand of football. At the McLean Center, Zach Hanley, News 3 Sports.
The Badgers and Illini kick off at 11 o'clock this Saturday in Brett Bielema's return to Madison. Zach and Jim Polzin will have much more on the game, Bielema, and what happened at Ohio State on this week's Badger Blueprint, Wednesday at 10. A final check of your forecast when we come back.
This fall into savings with an affordable, delectable dining set. Whether you're craving farmhouse, rustic, contemporary, cottage, and more. I've got dining and counter heights, storage benches, and tons of configurations.
Get Boss discount!
At a company, the culture comes from the top. Tim Michaels' company has been sued numerous times over sexual assault and harassment in the workplace. Women who worked for Michaels' company said they were groped, assaulted, and pressured to have sex with their bosses. Higher-ups at Michaels dismissed the women as liars and even fired those who spoke out. Is that what we need for Wisconsin? Tim Michaels, too radical, too divisive.
The 2023 Ford F-150 trucks are coming.
meaning more ways to haul, tow, go, and do. And with more ways than ever to make it your own. Plus, if you order now, you'll lock in your price and lock in your rate. Do more in a 2023 Ford F-150. Custom order yours today. Lock in 2.9 for 60 and get 500 retail order bonus cash when you order a Ford F-150. Only at your Wisconsin and UP Ford dealers.
You protected our rights, preserved our freedom. You may have even risked your life for us. Now, it's our turn to fight for you. Your local Wisconsin emergency, energy, and housing assistance providers, and the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund reward the service of our veterans with rental and energy support in their time of crisis. Apply today to get the fresh start you've earned.
Some things just go together, like free delivery from Hy-Vee Aisles Online with the Hy-Vee Plus Premium membership. For a limited time only, get $50 off your annual membership with promo code Mahomes.
Check out my Playscape 2-piece sectional. The $12.99 price tag makes it great. The 2 colors and 5 decorative pillows makes it greater. The comfy pop-up sleeper with Bobapedic memory foam makes it greater.
Get Bob's discount.
Greater.
Help us collect kids' winter coats during Coats for Kids.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
We have some chilly nights ahead of us.
Oof, don't remind me. Temperatures are going to be back into the 30s, folks, so be prepared for some areas of frost tomorrow night, Wednesday nights, and potentially going into our Thursday as well. But we are warming up a bit heading into the weekend with maybe our first dry weekend in a long time.
Ooh, I'll take that. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.